Kevin, you got some new toys as far as, and we're going to dip a little bit into home automation. Of course, Dave's got a forum for that, homeautomation.com, I think is just what it is. That's available out there as well if you want to jump into the home automation space. We've been talking a little bit about that. You've got some geeky, a month or two ago, we talked with John Zadler there about his train sets and stuff and these little tiny parts that come with it. Of course, I've talked with John Zadler too about the Raspberry Pi and those little pieces. Kevin, you got some cool stuff. I'm going to throw the camera over to you.
All right.
So that, because you want to show these things. So I'm going to throw
Sure.
the camera over to you. Show us what you got there. This sounds pretty interesting.
Okay, so this it's a company I've heard about for quite a while. It's a company called littleBits, and they make these little modular electronic devices. So think of little modules that are motor controllers and switches and power supplies and a variety of things. And I always wanted to buy into them, but I just never quite got the jump to get into it. And then about 2 weeks ago, they had an announcement that they had come up with a cloud-based controller. And it was basically a way to connect their devices up through their website into a cloud. So I'll flip my camera over to the other camera. No, I didn't mean to do that. Let's.
Oh, and there he goes.
Did we just lose him?
He did. He clicked the hang up button.
Clicked on a hang.
He will come back here in just a second. So, yeah, John Stutzman says I'd like to hear what you settle on, Keith. So that would be good. Keith, I need to have you on the podcast. Would you consider that? Maybe we can bring you back, talk about your quadcopter. Maybe in about 3 or 4 weeks, talk about your quadcopter as well as the storage decision you go with. Remind me of that if you would, Keith. That'd be great. Kevin, click the wrong button. Good to have you back.
Do not. I feel like Apollo 13. I got to put a sticker up there. Don't disconnect the command module. Don't disconnect the command module. All right.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So I'll flip over to my life cam. So these are the little modules. And the guy in the middle is the cloud controller. Little Wi-Fi connection on there, and that ties back into Wi-Fi and sends you up to their website. These guys all just kind of snap together, so they're little magnetic connections. That's a motor controller chip. The guy up front here is just the powering off USB. The center guy is a controller that talks back up to the little bits site. I think you can see the little motor there. And basically now if I go on my screen, I'm on my cloud control setting, and if I tap the button on the website, as soon as I get back in connection here. All right, it's a good demo when it dies. We'll give it a second to come back around.
Yeah, no sweat.
The automation factor on it is one of if this then that. So the idea is as you put these things together and start working with them, there the motor's running. I had to wait for it to turn green. It takes a little while to reboot down there, but basically now I'm able to control that motor from the website. The button aspect is just a way to show that you're actually making it talk. And no, the USB is only for power, so this is basically commands coming from littleBits website over the internet down to the wireless on here. So what are some of the things you could do with this guy? People have already kind of taken this motor control and hooked it up to an old thermostat and let the arm move the thermostat back and forth to turn the temperature up and down. A lot of little robotics projects with it. If you go up to littleBits website, there's all kinds of little projects that people have done, and frankly, Jim's done quite a bit of stuff with STEM. Part of my motivation with this is I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she likes snap circuits is one she likes that is just snap together electronic circuits, voice control, voice synthesizer kind of stuff. And then this was the next big step for us, is to jump into these. Now the other pack I got from littleBits is the I also have a hard time pronouncing this, Arduino. So for some of the embedded guys out there who've played with Arduino before, I got their starter kit from littleBits for Arduino. And part of the reason I picked Arduino is SmartThings, the home automation guys that I've started working with here. Those guys have a board that links Arduino circuits to SmartThings. So it basically does the Z-Wave connection, it's either Zigbee or Z-Wave, into SmartThings. So if you made a controller or a sensor or a monitor of some kind, which the littleBits stuff has a lot of the sensor, light sensor, dimmer kind of functions, you can basically start building your own circuits and have them tie back into your SmartThings system. And if this then that has SmartThings connectivity. So you can use trigger points from SmartThings to make things happen with the littleBits technology as well.
That's very cool. Just, John, think about that on a train, man.
Yeah, well, I was thinking is, yeah, the reality is, see, like those little motors, they're stepper motors, you know, so they could be very precise, you know, of how many revolutions you want it to go, you know, like an exact distance, you know, it's not, they don't just turn like fans, you know, they, you could see the little holes there, you can adjust, and what some of the guys do on train sets actually is like underneath they have, it's not a coil, but it's, they put these stepper motors, and then it connects to the through like a wire. It connects to the pin-ups up above where there's the turnout. You know, so it actually flips. Like it pulls the wire, and as it turns, it'll pull the track to one side, and then you have it turn to the other direction. It pulls the track. So you can, I guess, you can do something where you know, somebody's running his trains, then you wire, you know, remotely. You know, you're at home and you press the button, and you derail his train. You know.
Or you control somebody's track remotely, right? I mean, you could have cameras set around the track or whatever. I mean, we're using model trains as an example, but it could be a variety of things, remote control options for, you know, for any of those things. Kevin, so the magnets, those just pass power through, right? Is that right? There's just power going through those?
The magnets just pull them together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, bring that into the camera view a little bit. There we go.
If you can
perfect.
see the camera
yeah, that's
view,
great. Yep.
There's 3 pins on each of these, and I have to believe, I should have did a little more research on it. I have to believe it's one of the embedded buses like I2C, which is like a 3-wire bus connection for embedded control. So they're passing power and ground, and then the control signals just kind of pass through in a serial bus fashion. So
I think they swiped that idea from the Surface touchpad and all of that, you know, the magnetic touchpad.
Actually, these might be the other way because these guys are out before them. Microsoft might be in trouble on that one.
So the USB is the power coming in all the way over to the left, and then you've got the controller in the middle.
Yep.
And then you've got that circuit that's running the motor.
Yep.
But you could connect a variety. What other kind of connections do they have?
So this is a sound trigger that I'll just read a few of them off that I've got. It's a sound trigger, so you could set that as a trigger point. If the doorbell rang or, you know, if a noise went off, it would trigger whatever circuit you had going. Obviously, push buttons are available. In the other pack, there's a dimmer switch and a photosensitive so if the light goes down, it can trigger off that. There's motion sensor modules, so you could build your own motion sensor devices. So any kind of, think from terms of either output from a dimming point of view or from a control point of view, volume control, moving volume up and down. So just any of your basic control functions from a sensor, switch, or control point of view.
I like it. That's pretty cool. And all those have those modules, and they'll stack one.
Yep.
I mean, so you can stack one on, if you wanted like the doorbell one, the on and off, you could put that on the end of the green all the way to the right. You could slap that on there, and it would. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to think of it in order of what you're trying to do. So the simple circuit they first have you do is power and a switch and the motor, and then of course you push the power button, you push the button down, and the motor turns. So it just it gets you started with the flow. And I don't think you can see it, but there's little arrows on here to make sure you plug them in the right way so that the flow of the circuit always
Got it.
goes the same
Got
way.
it. That is a dynamite stem tool. I mean,
Oh,
you're not lying. That's, I mean, as you showed, this is awesome.
yeah, I think this would be, and they have pretty good sized discounts for STEM. So I mean, this would be a great project. And like John said, these are real servos. These are real stepper motors. So you could hop into these and do lots of interesting projects out of them.
Oh, very cool. No, that's awesome. I think it just gets better.
Oh yeah.
It's weird that we're back to these, we got really high tech for a while and now we're kind of back to simple circuitry using that very, very small tech that we got so much better with chips and making them smaller, and now they're able to embed this on simple circuits, but turn those simple circuits really into some dynamite useful, which now are all internet connected, right? The Internet of Things. And so this is the beginning of that process. And in a way that really you could get kids engaged. But I don't know, Kevin. I mean, what's your plan with this? What made you want to buy this? What was the impetus for that?
Like I say, it's kind of with a 9-year-old daughter. She likes to play with this kind of stuff. The other big thing from my point of view is on the home automation thing. I'm already starting to run into things that don't exist. So I've put Schlage door locks on 2 of my doors that are controlled through smart things, but nobody makes a electronic lock for a patio door because sliding glass patio doors, there's no standard to that. And I got to looking at it, and I'd probably need a motor stronger than this one, but thinking about the function of just moving that lock arm up and down on a patio door, that might be one of my first projects to tie in, just to prototype it with this, see if I can get it to work, and then see where we build out.
Oh, very cool.